Hey guys, welcome to SLT Learning, and this is Ankit Prajapati, and today we have come up with the another 10 questions for Playwright Automation Engineer role, and we will see what the next 10 question will be part of this second video of this playlist. So let me just show you what are we gonna cover in the second part. Okay, so these are the questions that we're gonna cover in our second part of the Playwright Automation Engineer question and answer for interviews. If you are preparing for interview, that will be very helpful for you. So how to open a browser with and without fixture. Okay, so that is the one tricky things that they might be ask you how you can do it without a fixture, then how to run a failed test case, then how to run a specific test case from the test suite, how you can skip the test case from the browser, right, when you are running your test suite, then how to pass and use the locators in Playwright. Okay, that is one of the useful things that you need to know. How to open a new tab or a new window, and how to handle two windows or tabs, how to handle the alerts, and how to maximize browser, and how to run the test case in parallel mode. Okay, so these are the 10 questions that we're gonna cover in the part 2. If you are preparing for any automation role, and if you want to take a mock interview from our expert on a video call, you can reach out to us and we will arrange the video call for you, so you can gain some confidence and face the interview panel with confidence. Okay, so let's go with the first question of the part 2. How you open a browser with and without fixture, right? As you know, in our last video we already know what is fixture, right? The fixture is something that help you to automatically do certain operation, right? Like launch the browser and clean up the I will just say is the resource automatically at the end of the, I will just say is the test case. So this is what we can do. You can see on highlight. Okay, over here like page is the fixture over here, one of the fixture that help, that work like a object, and based on that, using the page, you can control, you can utilize all the methods, all the functions throughout your test case, like page.goto and something like that way. Other fixture like browsers, right, it will automatically set up the browser context and page and all those things are the other fixtures in the Playwright. But suppose if you want to write the same test case, right, without or not using the fixture, what you can do? So you can see the example over here. It's a async method over here we have created. So for that one you need to first define the Chromium separately, right? If you want to use Firefox web, you need to define it separately. Then you need to define the browser. You need to say chromium.launch headless mode or headed mode. Then context, you need to create a context for that browser, so it will be like cache the cookie and all the things separately, and from that context you need to load the page, and then you can use the page with the same method. So you see, you need to add a 3 lines over here if you are not using the fixture in the Playwright. So that is always recommended when you write the automation script in Playwright. Use the fixture for your test cases. It will be easy to read and easy to manage. Okay, but in interview they might be ask you what is the difference, can you write the difference between them? So you need to write this way. First initiate browser, context and page. This is how the link, the steps will become over here. Okay, so always remember these things. So let's go to the next question. How do you run the failed test cases? Okay, so like in our Selenium we have the test ng, there is a one, I will just say is the annotation, and where we can, the listener, we use to run the failed test cases. So the same way in a Playwright we can automatically run the failed test cases by setting up this retry is equal to 2 into our playwright.config.ts. Okay, so that means whenever the test case will fail, it will run for 2 times. You can increase to 3 times or 5 times based on your project requirement. Okay, so answer will be, we can configure the retry tag or retry flag with the number of retry we want in our automation script under the playwright.config.ts. Okay, and suppose if you want to run the last failed test case, how you can do that? So you can, like in Playwright, right, when you run the test cases, right, it will be automatically create the .failed test case file. So if you want to run the last, or whenever you run the your test case and you want to only run the failed test cases, you can use this command npx playwright test hyphen hyphen last failed. So it will run the last failed test cases automatically. Okay, so these two things you need to make sure when you are answering this question. Let's go to the next question. How to run only specific test from the test suite, right? If you want to run specific test case, right, let's suppose in a Selenium, I will give you the comparison with the Selenium. We normally says enable or disable test case, right? We do not want to run that test case in that particular execution. So out of 10 I want to run only 6 test cases. So for that one you can use this particular tag only. So test dot only, this means when you execute this particular test suite, it will only execute the test case related with the sign up test. Okay, then again we can have another privileges where we can run the test cases by the title. So you can use this particular flag -g sign up, this is the title of the page, and it will find the matching title of the test case and it will execute the test case. Okay, then run the specific test file that we have already seen, but this is how you can do it. npx playwright test, then folder name and the file name. Okay, and the same way folder name and the file name you can also include like this way with the title of the page. Then again, let's suppose you want to run, okay, specific test by the line number. You can run the test at the specific line number in a test file as well. So how you can do this? You can simply provide, so npx playwright test, folder name, test file name, line number 15. So the test case will start from the line number 15. It will not run from 1 to 14. It will ignore that part and it will start from the line number 15. So these are the different way you can do this. You can run the specific test cases on a playwright. Okay, let's go to the next question. How to skip a test based on the browsers? Okay, so if you want to skip the test case, how you can do? You can simply use like a test only. You can use test skip, and this test will be get skipped when you execute this particular test suite. Okay, the skip a test on a browser, that means let's suppose if I write like this way, test skip browser name webkit, means this test case will not executed under the Safari browser or a iOS related browser. So it will only run on a Chromium and the Firefox. Skip entire test. Okay, if you want to skip entire test, so you can use on the top level test dot skip, and it will not execute any of the test case related with that particular like the given browser. So it will not run any of the test case from that particular test in a webkit. So suppose these are the few highlights I have put over here. If you want to skip in the test body, you can write down like this way, test skip browser name and skip reason. You can give any of the skip reason, like this is not included in this regression, or this is not a part of this particular end-to-end cycle, something like that way you can put the remark. Skip all test case, you can just say skip test browser name and give the browser name. Skip all except one browser. If you want to skip for only for you want to run for one browser and you want to skip for other browser, you can just say skip test skip browser is not equal to this one. So that means it will run for Chromium and it will not run for other browser. Project specific execution, so you can provide this project tag in a playwright.config.ts and you can configure over there if you want to skip that particular browser or not. Okay, so these are the three or different way you can answer your questions in your interview. Like mainly remember skip, that will be more than enough. Okay, so the next question says how to pass and use the locators, and this is very simple, but I thought it's good to include over here. So you can says page.locator. You see over here like constant username field page.locator, and this is the locator. This could be the XPath or CSS selector, any of them. And then await username field, then fill Ankit. So you are gonna type in that particular input box the name is Ankit. Okay, so this is how you can use the locators. Passing locator as a string. Now over here you can see you have created two lines, but suppose you want to do it in a one line, what you can do, you can write like this way, await dot page dot locator, this is the locator, then click, this will be do the click event, then locator login form, that wait for login form to be loaded, and page dot locator, and then fill that particular value. So this is another way you can use the locator. Passing locator via fixture or function, right? So suppose you are writing this particular constant login is equal to page, and over here you are passing the locators. You see you are creating one method, async method for the page fixture, and you are passing these two locators, username and password. and then you can use in your method like this way: locator username fill Ankit, and locator password fill password. And this is how you can call this method. You see, await login method, and page, that particular is the fixture, and then the two locators, this username is locator and password is a CSS selector, and this is how it will work. Locator with get by role and get by label, get by placeholder, this is unique way, and this is something we recommended to use in a Playwright. It is always easy to locate the specific element on a web page. So it just says get by role, that means you can find the button with the role of submit. Okay, so you can find that particular things. Get by labels means if the label will have this particular email, then it will go and fill this particular value. Get by placeholder means if enter your, this is the placeholder in a text file, it will find, and if it is get it, it will fill up this value. Okay, so this is one more. I will add some more one of separate question for this particular thing. This is very useful. Get by queries you can use in a I will just say is the in a Playwright. Okay, then another way, the chained locator. Okay, so that means you are like chaining the locator from one to another one. Let's suppose how it's going to be work. So this is the form locator, this is the form constant like page dot locator, and this is the form locator. Now email, so form dot locator, and this is the email address, and we are gonna fill this particular input. So email input dot fill is equal to this value. So from form we have find already the form locator, and in a form locator we are finding the email input locator. Okay, so this is another way you can utilize the locator strategy in a Playwright. Okay, so page dot locator is the key things that you need to remember. So the next question is that how to open a new tab or a new window. Okay, so suppose if you want to open a new tab or a new window, how you can do, you can just simply click on the button or a link and use this particular method context dot wait for event page. This will return the page, and then you can utilize to perform all the necessary actions. So what is the key things? Context dot wait for event, that you need to always remember when you are working with a tab and window. There is one more function over here. You see, constant new page await promise to all. The promise to all is not related with Playwright, but we can utilize in a Playwright. It's a JavaScript feature used in Playwright to wait for multiple asynchronous operation to complete. Okay, so let's suppose the click is one event, then loading the page is another event. So promise to all will not do the things together. It will be wait the different operation to be complete, and then you can perform your other trigger operation. Okay, so it's especially useful when one event trigger another event. So exactly when you are working with form or tab, this will happen, right? When you click on button, or when you click on link, or when you click somewhere, then it will open another tab or window. So you need to wait for that, and then you need to perform the operation on another action. So what will be the syntax? I have put the simple syntax over here. This is the new page await dot promise dot all, context wait for event the page, then page dot click on that particular. So wait for the new tab and then perform the action open in a new tab. Okay, this is what you can do. Then what you can do, await new page, this new page dot wait for load state means wait till it completely loaded, then you can fetch the titles and all those information like current URL or title for verification or validation. Okay, so this is the syntax. New page await promise to all, then context wait for event, you are gonna wait for this particular event, then you clicking on this event, and then after the click you wait the page to be loaded successfully. Okay, suppose if you want to manually open the new tab, what you can do, you can simply do these things: constant new page await context dot new page, this will create the new page. This is similar to our control T operation, and then new page dot go to URL, it will launch through this URL. Okay, and the third operation, open a new window. How you can open a new window? Then each context is like a separate browser window, is isolated cookie and cache. So what is the meaning of creating a new context? You will get the I will just say is the control on cookies and cache information of that particular separated created browser. Okay, so this is the syntax: context new context browser dot new context. This is create a separate window. Then we can create a new page from that context. It says new context dot new page, and we are using a new page to go to the URL. So this is another way utilize the context. Okay. Now another things that I have included over here, because why we use play promise to all in Playwright. So ensure both the event run in sync, prevent any mismatch or any I will just say is the failure in the test case, avoid miss event due to race condition. That means one by one all the events will be happen, so it will not miss any of the event when you are working on this kind of scenarios. Okay. So how to open a new tab? So certain things you need to remember: context dot wait for event, then wait for load to state, then you can utilize other Playwright simple commands. Okay. Let's go to the next question. How do you handle two windows or tabs, right? So this is the similar kind of question that we have already gone through, but let me show you how the context work over here, right? Because context, as I told you, right, context give you the authority of the cookie and cache like an incognito window. So let's suppose if you are running the same test case for 3 different user or 2 different user, the cache and the cookie will remain separated. Okay. So this is how you can handle the tab open via click. So first you need to define the promise to all, then create the context, wait for event, right, and then click on the event. And this is the similar way you wait for the page to load, wait for the load state, and then you can print the title in a console. Another way how you can switch between the tabs, right? If you want to switch between the tabs, so how it will handle the tabs information. So context page, context.pages, this is the command pages. This will return all the open tab for the current context, and then await page 0, right, bring to front, and page 1 bring to front. This is how you can switch to the tab. Okay. So 0 means first initial, the second, and bring to front method will be used to bring them front, and then you can perform your operation. Open a new tab manually and handle it. So what you can do, first await new page, context new page, you create a new tab, then you go to this URL, then from this URL what you can do, switch back to the original. So what you can do, await page bring to front means this another tab, this already we are on this particular new tab, right? Then we need to switch it, then we can use this simple command page dot bring to front, means it will go to the previously opened tab. Okay. How to handle a new window? So the same way, you need to first create a new context from the browser, then the new context for the page, and then new page, go to an URL of the application. Okay. So this is the different way how you can handle the two windows and a tab for your operation. So open and handle a new tab, you can utilize this code, and this will ensure the synchronize and avoid the flakiness. Track multiple tab, context.pages, multiple manage active pages. Switch tab, bring to front, focus on the required tab. Separated session means browser.context, new context, that will create the separate session for managing cookie and cache. So let's go to the next question 18. How to handle alerts? Okay, in Playwright, how you can handle the alerts, the browser alerts, the JavaScript dialog box like alert, configure and prompt using the page dot on dialog. That is the event will be helpful to manage those particular things. So how you can handle the simple alerts? So page dot dialog, this is the syntax you need to use. Async dialog and console dot log alert message, dialog dot message, and await dialog accept. So this is the way you can, like if you want to print the dialog the alert message, you can just say console dot log, and whatever the dialog message will open, this will dialog dot message, it will print the message, and then you're gonna accept the message. Okay. And then page dot click show alert, trigger the alert. So this is the one way. Then another way how you can handle the confirm dialog box. Okay, how you can okay and cancel. So I will just say is, when you click on dialog dot accept, it will click the event, and dialog dot dismiss, that will be cancel the dialog box. Okay. And you can use await page dot click, and once you will click on the delete button, you will see accept or dismiss button. So this is the way, first you will initiate the dialog box, and this is how you can handle. So this is how you can start the dialog box, and this is how you can handle either accept or dismiss using the dialog. Handle the prompt dialog. Okay, input plus OK or key. So await page dot click show prompt. Once it will show prompt, what it will do, dialog dot accept and this is the send input. So means it will accept and enter this particular input to that particular prompt dialog box, and then another one await dialog dot dismiss, this will cancel the prompt. So if it is a prompt and if you accept with this particular argument or with this particular value, it will enter the value as an input, okay, from the prompt dialog box. So there are different methods. Dialog dot message, that will get the message from the dialog box and print it. Dialog accept prompt message, this will accept and enter the optional text in the prompt message, and dialog dot dismiss, it will dismiss the dialog, okay. So register a page dot on event before triggering the dialog. So you need to always make sure page dot on dialog will be always there, right, and then you can perform the dialog related activity. Use dialog dot type to handle the different dialogs types dynamically. This is the separate things, but always remember, if you want to use this particular, if you are going with the different types, so dialog dot accept, dialog dot dismiss, these are the different types that you can utilize, okay, to handle the alerts in a Playwright. So let's go to the next questions. How to maximize the browser, okay. So like in Selenium we have the maximize command, okay, browser maximize, but in Playwright we do not have the direct command or direct function which gonna maximize the browser. So what we can do, so we have different way where we can utilize and we can maximize the browser. So the first way you can see, maximize the browser by simulated. So you can launch the browser with custom window size. So how you can provide the window size, so custom browser await chromium.launch, and this is where you can just say argument start maximize, so work only if you also set a viewpoint to null. Then you can set up the viewpoint null in a context, okay. So once you will have set up the new point, that means it will disable the default size of the browser, and then you can perform these two operations. So always make sure argument and viewport should be null if you want to use it defaultly. Now if you want to set up something, right, if you want to set up the width and height, this is how you can, instead of null you can put the viewport, and other things will remain the same, okay. Start maximize only work with a headless is equal to false and viewpoint is equal to null. So you see over here it says start maximize and viewpoint null, so you need to also set up the headless. So by default it is headed mode, that's why we have set up over here is headless is equal to false, okay. So always make sure if you want to utilize start maximize argument, you need to set up the headless is equal to false and viewpoint is equal to null, okay. So as I mentioned, right, there is no, I will just official command like maximize window like we have in Selenium in Playwright. So you can utilize like this way viewport, right, and you can maximize the, or you can resize your browser window. So let's go to the next question. How to run a test in parallel mode, okay. So the by default whatever the test you run in a Playwright, always run in a parallel mode, because once you have the things configured in your playwright.config for the different browser, it will run in a parallel mode. But suppose you want to control the parallelism, right, then you can set up the number of workers. So number of workers means thread, I will just say, right, in a testng.xml we are putting the threads counts. So this is similar, the number of browser you want, so you can just put define config, right, export define config, and worker is equal to for, that means you need for parallel browser to execute that particular test. So this is you configure in a playwright.config.ts for your project. But suppose at the runtime, at the command line, you want to control that part, then what you can do, npx playwright test, then hyphen worker is equal to 3 for all the 3 different browser. You can set up like this way as well, okay. And if you set up like this way for, then it will execute your for your all the, I will just not just for the or your test cases, for all your test cases for your project, okay. All the test cases in describe.parallel block will be run concurrently. So this block will also useful, test.describe.parallel. So this gonna go in a parallel mode, and whatever 1, 2, 3 test A, test B, test C, whatever the test cases you have mentioned, it will be run parallelly. So this is another way where you can use test.describe.parallel and then command line. And if you want to avoiding the parallel execution config, right, so what you can do, test will get one browser context, so make sure you create each new context for each and every test, and update unique test and test data to avoid the any I will just raise condition, means it will not try to hit the same object at the same time, okay, from the two thread. So you can avoid that particular conflict by using the new context for each and every test that you are executing in parallel mode. Okay, so how you can control the parallel mode in a Playwright? There are the different way. You can just remember the syntax little bit. The worker is one of the command, then test.describe and parallel is one of the command. This will help you to answer in interview. Okay, so this is the second part and we are near to finish the second part. So if you like our video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon, so the new video will you will get notified when we upload the new video. Okay, thank you for watching.